of Hecate or Hecate, it is MeomaikA.
And at the bottom left of Kate, in the blue, he's for Mystery Gaming. It's SCV.
I believe his team is currently playing in the World Team League as we speak, so not being used in that match currently, but his team's actually looking pretty fierce going up against Team Liquid right now. And here we do see him starting off with a pretty darn early probe scout. Will be met by no hatchery going up here, but will be met by a drone, and the drone just sneaks on by, kind of like you saw the like, oh, there's a probe, just kept on running. It was like, he's not following me. Okay, good, I get to put down the hatchery. So MeomaikA not startled by the opening, and his opponent more than happy to just kind of go to the main base and just make sure that his opponent's up to no good.
And this is a weird build from MeomaikA as well. So he went gas cancel 15 pool, which is not that wild in the grand scheme of things. We have seen a lot of 15-15 type openers moving around. In this matchup in particular, we saw, again, just kind of as a result of this Eric build, and Lings are going to go on the map early. This is something that will force SCV to wall off fairly early. But by doing that and then just taking a 16 hatch normally, having this opportunity to get yourself hatch blocked as you kind of get things early anyways is just a little bit weird. But for now, the Lings, they're going to find their way onto the other side. And Ben, the wall's not here yet.
It's not, but the only thing that SCV has to truly worry about is losing that pylon to depower everything. Because once that Adept comes out, these Lings are not long for this world. You see SCV, he's actually being very respectful how he's going for this. Does lose a probe to start things off, and maybe he can start bleeding out a little bit of damage. But now Big Daddy Adept comes over as well, and you see, I think the probe micro so far, yeah, he's lost a little bit of mining, but he hasn't lost, like, you know, what MeomaikA was hoping for here. I think MeomaikA was hoping for losing a lot more than what's happened. So MeomaikA slowed himself down to deal a bit of damage, but SCV so far, he passed the test. And that might be making MeomaikA feel a bit like, oh, damn, yeah, this opening didn't go that well, but at least he did get a good scout on what was going on.
Yeah, and when you look at this as well, I mean, are you going to get a lot of probes, Ben? No, probably not. You would like at the very least to force some probes off the line a little bit, you know, deny some mining time. And we don't even get that one there. So, and actually a bit of a mistake here coming out of Meo as well. I assume he maybe considered rallying some more Lings across or something, but he rallied so many overlords onto the other side. Now he's having to pull him back because a single stalker is going to punish that one really nicely. Even still, Adepts on the other side layer very quickly on the way here for Meo. And these Adepts, they're going to have to be careful because speed is going to be done in about 10 seconds. It's a bit of a slower speed than you would expect, but look at this. The most perfect spawn timing. 2 Adepts are going to go down. Man, you couldn't script that better, Ben.
No, that was very fortunate for MeomaikA, like very fortunate. But also, he knew that he lost that group of Lings, saw the units that came out. So while he hoped for damage and didn't quite get it, at least he isn't caught with his pants down. Now, he is behind in workers, which you kind of expect Zerg to sort of be at this position. And his opponent has gone for a Void Ray, which, if he sees that at the front here, that also can make you as a Zerg feel very happy about the situation. That isn't an Adept in the wall, by the way, so it isn't getting shots on these Lings. And seeing that Void, you're just like, all right, keep all my Overlords at home. Not going to take damage on my eco from that. And MeomaikA is probably decently happy about the situation.
And of course, behind this is Lairs done. He's on 2 gases. And I mean, if I know anything about MeomaikA, we're going to see Hydrogen go down right now. And you talk about it, seeing this Void Ray, not only is the Zerg going to be happy because maybe this less economic damage. If you're a Protoss player and you've gone Void Rays against a mass Hydra Ball, it doesn't feel that great, but I love what SCV's doing behind this. We're going to have to see if it works. But this idea of, okay, well, I know he's MeomaikA. I know what he's going to do is this probe will fall. I'm going to get Glaives. Glaives are really good against Lings. Glaives are really good against Hydras if you can bust through it. And because this build for MeomaikA, Ben, is so fast, it's so aggressive, it's really low on the drone count, we're not talking about 170 supply of Ling Hydra. We're talking about 120, maybe 100 supply. Not a lot of Lings and Hydras in comparison. You can bust through it.
These Adepts are starting to deal decent damage, though, over here. And I mean, the drone count of MeomaikA was decent before this hit. It was like 52 to 43 probes or something, but I mean, 2 adepts for 6 drones and forcing Spore Crawler and stuff, you absolutely will take that trade any day of the week. But I'm with you. Going adepts with glaives against a MeomaikA, like every unit that he likes to make is unarmored. So having these specialists at dealing with that, that is cool to me. MeomaikA is absolutely going to be caught off guard by this, and yeah, I'm curious how he's going to deal with it.
Yeah, for now, Void Ray trying to snipe something. And, I don't think this... No, actually, out of the Overseer... Nah, it's not going to get out. Meanwhile, Adepts on the other side. This is the important thing. Shades on top gets one Hydra, but now they're going to surround. This is an immediate recall required from SCV, and we talked about how we like the tech idea, Ben. Losing a couple of Adepts before the fight even happens, everything else getting incredibly low. I don't like that as much. Suddenly, this army of Meo is looking much better.
This is one of those situations where you know what your opponent's going to do, but you're still not quite prepared in the way that you thought you might be. You know the army comp, but you don't know how fast it's going to hit you. It's a 48 drone versus 54 probe situation, and that is a lot of Ling Hydra. And the thing is, even though your adepts deal a lot of damage to all of this, the amount that's going to hit you, yeah, you need something a little bit extra. And SCV knows that as well. So that's why he's going for this Colossus, which absolutely... Like this is like 2 glass cannon armies against one another, and yeah, I'm excited, man. It's close to the 5th of November, and we're seeing fireworks early here.
Yeah, Ben, I'm so sad that I don't get to work with you tomorrow, so I can't make all the Guy Fawkes jokes. But it's a Guy Fawkes Eve. It's close enough. The question though is, Meo, at this point, do you transition? You don't necessarily know that there's a Colossus on the way. You don't know how your opponent is going to choose to respond, but you figure that SCV is probably not going to stick on mass adept until the end of time. I mean, that being said, he's just going to go into it right now. No extended thermal lance, so it's hard to get. It's hard for the Colossus to get all the damage done. Neo though just dives on top. Shield battery overcharge is going to get pop targeted down, so no shield batteries anymore. And he can just sit outside this third base. It's hard for SCV to engage into it. And yeah, Ben, this is just a dead third.
MeomaikA is so cool, man.
Dude.
Like, he's so cool. He's not gone for Hydraless range over here. Adepts do get into the natural, which will deal some damage. And, you know, when you're a low drone Zerg, 45 drones against 62 probes, that is no joke whatsoever. Adepts, oh my goodness, this is dealing way too much damage. And this doesn't look... Okay, it has been spotted by some Lings, but nice shift clicking. So the Protoss definitely suffered a big economy hit. And he's way oversaturated on just 2 bases here, but... I do sort of like his army a lot more against what he's up against here, because if he just kind of solidifies just a little bit, MeomaikA's in trouble. And MeomaikA's army, you're absolutely right, it's not a good army against once the Protoss gets going. It's about catching them off guard earlier on. But yeah, what a funny situation. You don't often see PvZ like this.
Well, you don't often see MeomaikA, so I think that's fair.
Yeah.
When you talk about it. Now, the interest... Oh, Lynx are looking for the run by. They're not really going to get much. Now, we are seeing a bunch of roaches getting added in. Right? That's nice. That is something that can tank against this army. They're not going to die to Adepts. They're going to die to Colossus slower. Certainly, this is not Wings of Liberty or Heart of the Swarm when Colossus plays would still shred this type of army. But, I mean, it's a 40 supply lead, Ben. Is that enough for what we're looking at? Honestly, I'm not totally convinced that it is.
No, it's going to be interesting. Like, I like all the tech choices of SCV right now. I also like the fact that he's just been kind of relentless with these Adepts, hasn't he? Let's have a look at 23 drones have fell overall, and it's not been from one big attack. It's been from these little shaving off drones here, there, and everywhere. MeomaikA's supply is still very healthy, but this is very much not a tech-heavy army. Like, those Hydras still don't have Hydraless range, so they're a little bit worse than they could be. I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't gone for that. It's such a cheap upgrade. Maybe just thinking he has it already. But MeomaikA is looking to pounce. You can see that big wave of red across the minimap.
Yeah, that he is. He's got one army on the right side, one army on the left here, and it's going to be interesting to see how he approaches this, because this one army cannot fight this. Disruptor is not going to get the best shots, but even still, he's just getting ready for that surround, trying to find it on the right side. Disruptor, that's a massive shot on the Lings, and now Meo trying to run pell-mell into this. Disruptor will fall. Shield battery, single one of them. It's in the back line. There's no way that Meo gets on top of that, so this Colossus army is going to shred. It's really going to be hard to shut down any of the healing.
Oh, no.
This fight, there's no way, and in fact, there's no way at all that SCV loses this. Meo, back to the drawing board, and now the third base is up, so even that economically that Meo had, it's not there anymore, Ben.
Yeah, and you're right. I don't get to watch MeomaikA all that much, but his 4-base situation is very deceiving. Like, if you look across his bases, like, the saturation is just not there. He's at 53 drones right now. Like, it's very much a Brood War-esque style of low drones per base, but a lot of bases. And right now, he's going to try and get something done with these roaches, but again, the army complexity of SCV is just so much better.
Yeah, I love it as
well.
well.
Be careful.
I mean, Mio at this point is going to have to play this run-by type of game, force his opponent out of position, maybe find something. But I love that if you take a look at the income graph, you can see the moment where the third base finished again. Because it was Mio, solid economy despite being down workers, and it's just a vertical cliff of workers going down as SCV kind of gets ahead of the economy once again. But I do like this from Mio, Ben. There's a hive on the way. Of course, Vipers are the ultimate answer to pretty much any robo unit. But I guess at this point, we ask ourselves, again, it's the question, is it too late? It's 11 minutes in. This army from SCV is powerful.
It is powerful, but I think you're absolutely right. Like, the Viper, once that comes on the field, and as long as SCV isn't in the face of MeomaikA before that happens, MeomaikA is going to be good. So you can see how MeomaikA's positioned. 2 armies on either side of the map here, just making sure that his opponent is staying back. And if you can get out those Vipers and really take out those Colossus / Disruptor, you're left with a very, very feeble army. So I do like what MeomaikA is heading to in his game plan overall. Just solid RTS knowledge.
Yeah, the other thing we talked about going to Vipers is, will there be enough Vipers? Because at this point, we're looking at 3 Colossus, a second Robo was added, so you're going to be 2 Robo Disruptor on the way behind this. SCV is just going to have a lot of units that you want to abduct, and those force fields are beautiful. That's like 10, 15 supply trapped away. MeomaikA cannot defend it, and that should give this 4th base up. So Mio, he's going to lose another base, losing Lings as they pop here. But no, Mio's going to try to go on the surround. Wow. Not a lot of force fields. Getting on top of the Colossus as well. Disruptor shots. They're going to try to get the roaches. But the Lings around here, they're going to kill 2 of the Colossus. They're going to get a lot of these disruptors. It's a miraculous fight for Mio somehow, despite everything. And SCV wasn't ready, and I guess he's got this army on the right side as well. But Mio, he takes a banger of a fight, even if he loses a base.
Yeah, it's good for SCV that he was doing another fight at the same time. Didn't micro those Colossus at all, by the way.
Oh.
Like, that was really funny, because he had a good bunch of Stalkers there that Colossus could have just moved on top of, and then they wouldn't have died even remotely as fast. But he was just... I've seen that from a few players recently in this region. They just kind of, it's a fight, let's watch it. But he was at least doing something on the other side of the map. And now, this positioning from SCV, gorgeous. Those are Glaive Adepts in the middle there, just, having the Stalkers tank for them against all of those Lings. And MeomaikA, this was a desperate attack to deal damage, and that was not what he was looking for.
There's this beautiful setup where, you know, this weird setup where, you know, yeah, the Colossus actually don't kill all the Lings. The Robo units, the big splash units don't kill these small, tiny, light units, but the Gateway units do. And, you know, sometimes it works like that. But now that one advantage that Mio may have had by knocking down 3 Colossus and a couple Disruptors and all of this, well, that's been shut down by that attempted attack on the 4th, which really was just Lings. Nothing to really punch through the structures all that easily. Nothing to get on top with range damage. And now it's an SCV that's on 4 bases. Mio, his 5th base is on the way, but it was killed. And it's a 20 worker lead. So at this point, it feels like SCV just has to max out one more time. He should be fine. But Ben, we thought that was true on the 4th base, and Mio got his fight.
Yeah, there is one unit that could actually come out and work miracles at this point, and it is the Ultralisk. If Mio could afford it. And, you know, I would say most Zergs in this situation, besides MeomaikA and maybe a Dark in this kind of scenario, might be able to weasel themselves out of it. But MeomaikA is all about playing from this position. Like, you know, any other Zerg, they'd be, oh my god, I'm so dead. But MeomaikA is like, this is where I get comfortable, you know, 50-odd drones and 5 bases, sending up my 5th. He's feeling all right. And I think his dream scenario is just hoping that SCV puts a few feet out of place here. Because, like, as long as he defends and gets up to a really good army, his economy's so damn good this game, VO. Like, so damn good. He's even taken a 5th base behind this. You know,
SCV is an incredible spot, but, you know, you're right. To paraphrase Winston Churchill, never fight a Mio. Oh, no, the Vipers, though. That's a problem. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. He's going to lose 3 of the Vipers. And now we talked about how many abducts you have. There's 1. It's going to get 1 Disruptor here. SCV holds the ramp. And now the 4th Viper's dead as well. This is why you click your Vipers onto the back of your army. They're faster. They can run across the map. And now, Ben, I'm sorry. I don't see any miracle anymore. It's SCV's going to take this.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely is. I mean, the disruptors are good. GG is called. I mean, MeomaikA caught with his pants down. That was incredible. Even as those Vipers ran away, like there is a few things you can do, like just drop blinding clouds. He was on a bridge. He was so compact all in one spot that would have been totally fine, right? And might have saved them. We've seen greater saves. So the fact that that happened, brutal, absolutely brutal. Like so much work MeomaikA did to try and get there, and then just kind of threw it away. And well played, SCV. And remember, this is an elimination match, so if you are to go out in this series because of something like that, that can be so damn brutal.
No, absolutely. And I think Meo did have opportunities. Oh, we're going to Americas for game 2. I think he did have room. He did kind of catch his opponent off guard. Getting all those adepts, right? I think that's the big thing. Getting those adepts, getting the damage done, killing off some of them. He did have room, and he got the third base. But the problem with how Meo played, I think, is that we didn't see him transition. He kills the third base. He puts himself in a solid spot and stays on Ling Hydra, stays on a low drone count. Part of it was SCV doing such a good job of getting damage done. But imagine if Meo had done that and taken a fourth base and droned up and gotten a Lurker Den, or gone to Hive, or even just transitioned to Roach Hydra a little faster. I don't think SCV has the time required to go and make that happen. I don't think that he necessarily has the time to get a fourth base and get 3 Colossus and get disruptors and things. But as it stands, Meo, he loses to yet another Protoss in game 1. Ben, game 2, what do you want to see different?
From Meo, I mean, that's a tough one. If you gave me another Zerg, I'd be like, maybe not the Hydra so early, maybe not but that would Meo not being Meo at all, would it? So I'm not entirely sure. Against Nice, he got into similar positions where he was on the map a lot, and absolutely, like, Nice responded very well. But when he called him out, it was with like ultras and things like that. So it was really awesome. But I think just a bit less predictability, but also, when he first grabbed all those adepts and really killed them, when the Hydras popped out at like a perfect time and everything, I think just kind of gunning for his opponent there. Like, he killed the third and then he just kind of backed off and let his opponent take the third again. So either something a bit more extreme, such as getting the Vipers out faster so he could actually fight the army, or just even though he's obviously quite crazy in his play, it wasn't the extreme crazy, and that's what I think I'm missing a little bit from MeomaikA.
Yeah, and now we're going to move on to Oceanborn, which is maybe a bit smaller of a map, but I think if there's a map that Meo wins, it's this one. For one simple reason, Ben. He is Oceanborn. He is the king of the sea. So clearly, the map is named for him, and that's how we're going to go. That's the logic I got. I don't know. I don't know how good it is, but it's something, right?
It is something. It is. But it's a trick. Like, we haven't seen much of SCV so far, but with that one game to go on, you can already say that he's pretty solid, eh? Like, MeomaikA, we've also got to remember, like, game 1 started off with that pool first build where he sent 6 links to the other side of the map and passed the test. Like, that really is kind of a skill test build, I feel, from MeomaikA, where you do something, your opponent, if they respond to it badly, it's like 12 pooling in ZVZ. Like, your opponent can either own it, die to it, but if you see that they die to it, it's like, aha, now you're feeling confident for the rest of the series. So I don't mind the fact he did it. But yeah, from that point on, SCV just played a solid Protoss game. So definitely a player that MeomaikA has to be super respect in this series going forward. And yeah, I want to see MeomaikA play maybe a bit more macro orientated here from the get-go and not allow SCV play his game.
I mean, MeomaikA, a bit more macro oriented. I'm not sure that exists, Ben, but we're going to have to see, because game 2, ready.
He is spawning over from the top left-hand side as our red Zerg. It is the Chad. It is MeomaikA.
And of course, up a game. Actually looking pretty dang impressive in that first game. He's from Mystery Gaming. It's SCV.
Yeah, MeomaikA, whenever I see his name, I always just, like, it, at Valencia, like, I think it was like a year ago or something, MeomaikA turns up, you know, doesn't bring a credit card or anything, just 200 euros in his pocket, turns up. He's just very happy. Everybody likes MeomaikA. Doesn't have a mouse pad either. Like, you know, he's just that kind of guy. Plays his first match against Hearthstone, 2-0s him, and it's just like, what's going on? Like, this is the most... you know, I went to him, I was like, oh, playing well then? He's like, yeah, going better than I thought. And I was just like, you're way too cool. You're way too cool. But yeah, this game, opting for a pool first again here is Meo. Natural on location, does get to get away with it, and SCV doing the same kind of probe scout that he did the game prior, just to make sure that he doesn't die against anything too crazy, and not necessarily for a hatchery block either.
Yeah, so again, you talked about it. Game 2 opens much the same Game 1 did. But going back to Meo and what he did, man, he almost made playoffs in that tournament too. Just my favorite part of that though, Ben, is that you have all these European Zergs who are just talking about how bad the Hydra is, how much they hate it, and more importantly, all the North Americans talking about how much they hate running into Meo on ladder because he just cheats the hell out of them over and over again. And somehow he wins them all over. He's like, yeah, he had Lambo like somewhat convinced that Hydras might actually be okay, which is the craziest accomplishment. It's not winning games. It's convincing Lambo that Hydras might be okay is, I think, the craziest accomplishment in like the last 5 years of StarCraft.
Yeah, you've also got to know that the Zerg Cabal is strong, you know, like their methods of false propaganda, they are even better than the British propaganda back in the day. Like, I was still thinking, up until a few weeks, carrots help you see in the dark, Behemoth, but no, just British propaganda, just trying to trick the Germans back then a long time ago, but they tricked me 80 years later. I tell you, Zerg Cabal propaganda very strong. Well,
Ben, you know, there's something fun about that as well, because there is some logic to carrots making you see in the dark better, where beta carotene, like the vitamin in that, does strengthen the ocular nerve. Like, it does make your eyes a little bit better. It doesn't necessarily help you see in the dark, but carrots are in fact good for your eyes. So
they are, but they do not help you see Zeppelins in the dark.
This is true.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was, you know, every fib, every little white line, if it's based on a little element of truth, it helps, right? It helps. But here, we do see MeomaikA with a good amount of lings, and this Zergling speed is relatively early, but those lings are not where they want to be. These Adepts actually cancels that shade at the natural. He's getting a few probe or Zerg or drone kills for his trouble, excuse me. But yeah, I think if he went to the main there, it could have been a lot of trouble MeomaikA would have been.
Yeah, certainly. For now, though, even getting 2 drones for 1 Adept is pretty solid. But now, Speedlings on the other side, they're still Adepts, though, so this is not going to get much done. And it seems like this is going to be SCV's response to Meo and his Hydra shenanigans. Get Glaives. Add in a couple more gateways. In fact, this is 4 gate Glaives. So, last game, it was 3 gate Glaives, right? And a third base. It was a little bit more reactive. But this game, proactive glaive play, 4-gate glaive, and this should be, again, we talked about it last game, this should be very good against this Hydraling style. But Meo, that's a Roach Warren on the way.
I didn't expect to see the Roach Warren, because yeah, if you're in SCV shoes and you're against this guy that likes these light units, yeah, having the glaives is great. And you gotta remember, he went for the Stargate the game before as well, and was like, oh damn, I need to out, which I did a little bit of like Overlord killing and stuff, but it didn't slow down the eco of MeomaikA. And I think SCV kind of realized, like, oh, I don't need that Stargate to slow him down, because he kind of slows down himself with how he plays, which is kind of a funny idea in StarCraft, that your opponent will do the job for you. But yeah, he's going to go for DTs. The Dark Shrine doesn't always necessarily mean you're going to use the DTs for DT things, but maybe Archons as well. But MeomaikA throwing a bit of a spanner in the works and going against his image here and making the Roaches.
I mean, SCV, though, he's getting everything. He's got a Dark Shrine on the way, 3rd base on the way, 4-gate Glaives.
That's a lot of Adepts.
Wow, yeah, and he's going to complete the Shade, too, so Lings, they're going to get right on top of this 3rd base, and a couple Warpins, I guess they're going to defend, but now Meo, on the other side, he's got 5 Roaches. That's just about it. There's not a lot to defend this 3rd base.
No, he's in trouble, man. Like, he doesn't even have remotely as much as you could/should have. in this situation. And those Adepts, did they finish it? Wow, they did finish it. And I mean, they're going to be greeted by a lot here. But again, like the economy of SCV is that much better. And he's safely got a third up behind this as well. Now, seeing this amount of units, he has to know, like, okay, I'm against somebody that's just going to try and all-in me. But if he plays with those DTs as well to slow this down, there is like another wrench that could absolutely make things harder for MeomaikA, that he's going to need an Overseer on the other side of the map. And I'm not sure he's thinking about that right now. I
mean, at least there is good news for MeomaikA, and that is that he does have a lair. So this is not just a pure hatch timing that we sometimes see some Zerg players go for. So at the very least, he has the opportunity. These Adepts, man, they're just being so obnoxious, getting more drones, forcing you back. The Lings, Roaches on the right side, on the bottom side here. And these couple DTs, there is no Overseer. You mentioned it being necessary. This is just going to slow the push down. It buys time for SCV to warp in more Adepts, to warp in more DTs, to maybe get some Archons morphed, get Immortals out, get shield batteries, be very defensively minded. And somehow this DT has been able to chase this army for forever before an Overseer joined. So that much more damage.
I am a little bit scared for SCV because I think the game plan was good. MeomaikA's on 38 drones right now, and SCV, if he had like double Robo pumping out Immortal, I'd be actually way happier for him. But right now, the only real damage against these Roaches is a single Immortal. There's no Warp Prism to keep it alive either. Like MeomaikA, if he jumps on that, that's it. The damage is gone. And I think MeomaikA, doing MeomaikA things, just getting away with murder over here.
Quite literally, he's murdering SCV. Now, one shield battery is going to go down. The second one overcharging as much as it can. And look at what SCV is doing here. He understands that his win conditions to knock that Overseer down, but he's not going to be able to do so. It's just sitting back, and there is no blinks and can't get on top of it. Probes are going to get pulled now, and it's a solid concave from SCV. But Meo's going to back up, and even as he gets 9 probes, SCV doesn't care all that much. He's still up 11, or more than that, actually up 13. It's all about this fight right now. Lings Roaches get on top, but it's a single Immortal. Shield battery overcharge is done. How do you hold this if you're SCV?
You absolutely don't. Being caught massively off guard. It was all about the aggression, but you know, he poked the bear one too many times, and the bear, he strikes back, mousepad or not, and he has taken out this third base of SCV. The SCV, did he have to hold on to it? You might be like, nah, he didn't, but given that MeomaikA's kind of transitioned his army to Ravagers here, trying to hold that wall that is natural, it's going to be near impossible against the amount of biles that are going to rain down here.
Yeah, I would have loved to see in that initial hold. I understand the desire because DTs, if there's no detection, they do great. But I would have loved to see them just, especially once the Overseer was shown, just morph it into an Archon. You have 2 of them still remaining. That splash damage against the Lings is really nice. But at this point, MeomaikA gets on top. Shield battery dead immediately to the Ravagers. And yeah, we're going to go to game number 3 here. Back against the wall for MeomaikA. He will strike back. There really is not anything that SCV can do at this point. And now we're looking at 1 game for SCV, 1 game for MeomaikA to determine whether they move on to tomorrow or whether they're done right here. Not bad for Meo.
Not bad at all. And that was the kind of more extreme that we were looking for, right? Like game before, a few things happened. It was like bing, bang, boom, like killed the Adepts, but didn't launch the proper counter, killed the third, then got back. Whereas this time it was like, okay, you've hurt me. You've really hurt me. Go, go, go. And it was like, I think, what was his max drone count this game? Let me have a quick check. Like that work graph. Yeah, it was like 40 maximum that game. Really cool by him, but the army was huge. And that is the kind of aggressiveness that I really want to see out of him. Or at least the extreme, you know? Like StarCraft 2, you have to be decisive because you're often given like 5 decisions. And if you get in the middle of them, like you split 2 of them, it's like something that you feel might be right, but it's absolutely not the right thing. Because if your opponent predicts either one of them, like you're just kind of falling short. So MeomaikA there just being like, hey, I'm all about attacking you right now. It was the absolute right call. And SCV did not have enough to deal with it whatsoever.
No. And now we get to move on to your favorite map, man. It's Hard Lead. Actually, I guess it's Alcyone is actually your favorite map. So, but we get to move.
I do like Hard Lead though, because I mean, like I actually did think this one was called Hard Lead, and you know, English being the beautiful language that it is, you know, you Americans misspell a lot of the words, but you know, some of the words also have like several pronunciations, and they're not wrong either. So yeah, English, lovely stuff.
Yeah, it makes, you know, it's stolen from everything, and it makes a ton of sense. obviously, all the time. But you talk about things sounding differently. My favorite, like, I guess, linguistic fact recently is that if you talk to people from the southeastern United States with that southern drawl that sometimes you got, that is the closest thing to the style of English accent that people would have that came over back in the 1700s. It's theoretically closer to that old style of British English or English than what's spoken in modern Britain.
It's actually funny. So I have a friend that studied linguistics, like had a PhD in linguistics. And yeah, I remember him telling me this was like a good 9 years ago that Americans sound more like old school English than the English actually currently do.
Yeah.
Which also means that the English are more evolved. You know what I mean? If you actually think about it. So that's also kind of cool. So, flipping that one about and all that kind of stuff. But hard lead, third map of the series. And yeah, this is cool now. Like they've both got to get a map on the board. And I think that's really important in these kind of elimination matches. Like nerves, jitters out the window now. They both got to test each other out. They both know the other one's got good stuff in them. And yeah, now we get to see what they're truly, truly made of, because it's one map. You're in or you're out.
That it is. And the other fun thing about this as well is that this is, I think you might have said this at the start, but this is a first for these two. MeomaikA and SCV have never played each other in a competitive match. Maybe they run into each other on ladder, but they have never played each other. So this now, with back against the wall, one map remaining to determine whether you move on to tomorrow, whether you're done right now, against a wholly new opponent, which, Demu, I don't have to tell you, we're 13 years into StarCraft. It's not that common that happens. So now, for the final time here in this series, we're getting into the game.
We absolutely are. And spawning over in the top left as our red Zerg on hard lead, or lead, some of you might believe, it is MeomaikA.
And in the bottom right, looking for maybe something a little different, a better response in this third game. It's SCV.
Definitely an interesting one. This game, MeomaikA going straight up in drones, up to 17. Makes me think he's going to go for a pool again. Yes, he certainly is, as you normally take the hatchery on like 16 or 15 if you want to be super safe. And SCV on the other side of things, doing exactly what he's done before as well. But yeah, it's a long time of StarCraft. I've been around since the very beginning, like playing in those first online cups, Zotac cups back then. And yeah, it's kind of funny when I think about the amount of players that I've played from very different eras. I've played the Reynas and Serrals of the world. I've played against the Innovations, the MMAs, and yeah, it's even the Nadas actually. And it's just been around for such a long time. StarCraft 2 with such a lovely, rich history that both these two players are fairly new. Well, MeomaikA not so much, but SCV definitely new members too, which is awesome to see.
Yeah. So you talk about having played everyone. Did you ever? I should have looked at this before the game. Did you ever play a Meo in a competitive, or was that too separate?
I'm gonna check right now. I don't think so. I was busy playing. I was going to make some dumbass joke about me being too busy playing in the real Premier League stuff, but no, I don't think I did, although I will check. Yeah. I think he was kind of after me, Yeah, I haven't actually played him in a serious setting, but most players spanning through time, I've definitely played a series against, which is really cool.
Yeah, well, that's something you and SCV have in common then, where both of you have never played MeomaikA. Although I guess technically SCV has now. But it's going to be a Stargate opener from SCV in this third and final game. It worked in game one, he lost in game two, and he didn't quite have the same amount of map control. So I guess go back to what works. But now that we've seen Meo play against the idea, I mean, the man goes Hydras every game except this last one. Does he go back to that idea? Do we see Roaches again? I really don't see Meo going for standard macro play that doesn't seem to be in his bailiwick. How does he counter his image ban? I guess that's what we're looking at right now.
It's a tricky one. So I like that SCV's gone into Stargate, because that's probably what he's practiced far more of, rather than just kind of trying to counter his opponent. MeomaikA has been continually mining gas, and quite a lot of it, meaning his third was a bit delayed and stuff. Like, if you do play a Zerg that is a bit weird, ooh, nice drone saves here on these spores. If you do play a Zerg that's a little bit weird with their timings, it does kind of instill fear in you, just because you're like, oh, he's not droning up as hard. Like, what is he doing? Like, the only other option is either tech, which you're like, Zerg's teching? Nah, they're going to attack me, right? But he is absolutely teching behind this, and the Oracle will allow him to get some vision of what's going on, and that is a big deal against a player like Meo. It can kind of settle you a little bit, but Meo is definitely prepared this game for something like this.
I love Meo as well. It's a little early, but he builds 2 spores, and he's like, oh, I got to cancel that, right? It just to prevent the adepts, but because you're going to need spores around the time when those spores were going to finish anyways, he just lets them complete. It's going to be fine here. Oracles dive in, gets 1 drone, and let's see. Yeah, actually, there's no queen in the main base right now, so actually getting some decent damage, forcing the pulls, getting some worker kills. And SCV, he's got that second, or he built that second Oracle, but I can't imagine he's going to get a third. Not when the layer is almost done. It opens up too many attack patterns that Oracle's just not great against.
No, I mean, it is fortunate that he kind of knows that lair isn't something like Queen Nidus, Roach, you know, like, and he is getting good confirmation here with these Oracles. He's being respectful of his opponent, isn't he? Just getting all the information that he can, taking a third base behind it, going Glaives again. So quite late Glaives, except this time he is absolutely playing with full information. And 2 Oracles can deal quite a bit of damage. Like, you have to have Queens in the right position as well as a Spore. Otherwise, this happens. Boom, zap, zap, zap. That is very quick eco damage and confirmation on what he's up against in the Hydralisk Den.
Exactly. He saw the lair, but Meo showed us that he can hit a Roach Ling timing off the same build in game number 2 and actually won. Ooh. So it's a really nice confirmation. Now the Adepts, they're going to shade in. Their Glaives aren't done, but they're just going to get so much damage anyways. 9, 10 drones will fall. But now we're looking at the situation that we had kind of in game 1 where SCV goes, his Adepts get caught out. They go down. It means that Emil can run across the map, take the third base. But I mean, this is 13 dead drones demo. It's a 34 drone Meo who's trying to pump Ling Hydra. That's not a lot of economy to do that.
It isn't, but if there is a timing, it is kind of now. There's only 8 Adepts on the field, but you're right, there's not a lot of fodder for these Hydras, and the weakness of Hydras is if these Glaive Adepts get on top of them, but you see this is not what SCV expected at all. Definitely getting caught a little bit off guard here, which is kind of what MeomaikA's been hoping for, but still, remember, any fight that happens on MeomaikA's side of the map, way better for SCV, just because it's keeping him away from his base, but he needs to start getting static defense, he needs to start getting something else, or just more of what he has, because this timing for MeomaikA is strong, and he just lost a lot of wind in his sails of losing all those Adepts.
Yeah, no, that's a big problem. 24 army supply on the map here. Hydras are going to show up. Now, Adepts can get on top of these Hydras, but look at what Meo's done. He's got a Queen here as well. Are they going to transfuse? No, not really. What they are going to do, it's just a little bit more HP that can maybe try to buffer for some of these Adepts. It's now, I mean, second shield battery done. Stasis traps all get triggered. Meo tries to get on top. Shield battery overcharge. He doesn't have Hydra range yet, so he can't get on top of it even still. He is shredding this army. All the Adepts are down. The third base will fall. 8 or 9 probes head as well. And with these Queens on top, I mean, yeah, the Stasis trap's going to plug the wall. Just a little bit extra beef demo. It's a big deal.
I mean, he's getting MeomaikA here, it really is. Like, MeomaikA caught him off guard, and the thing is, you know something's going to happen like this, but you don't know how to stop it, and this is brutal. SCV showcased some really good Oracle micro and pretty decent play overall, but getting way too carried away with dealing more damage after he's already dealt damage. Like, that was unnecessary, and MeomaikA just doing MeomaikA things here. Well played to him. He will stay alive in the tournament, going 2-2. And honestly, yeah, this was a good series by him.